He said, girl, the way you're controlling me is like voodoo. He said, slow it down, the way you turn me around is like.
Hi everyone, it's Xena here again, and today we're going to talk about how do you put music to a song. So last time, if you watched my previous video on songwriting, we were just talking about song structure and how do you put a song together, how do you decide on what the structure is going to be. Well, this time we're going to talk about the music aspect of it all. So that is just going to open up a can of worms that I would love to dive into, and we'll get to most of it hopefully. So usually for me, when I start writing or hearing a song, it always starts with the lyrics. I don't know if I'm on the fence about whether the melody comes first or the lyric comes first, because for me they're one and the same a lot of the time. I just tend to create that way. I naturally will hear a lyric and it naturally has a melody attached a lot of the time. I would say that happens about 87% of the time when it comes to my style. So everybody's different. Some people can only write when they have a melody, and that is totally fine. That's not abnormal. It doesn't mean that you're not good at writing. It just means that that's who you are and that's how you operate. Everybody's different. We have different experience with how we learned music. I know people who don't even know how to read music, but they're some of the best musicians you'll ever meet, right? So it's really not about how you go about the process. It's just about learning what works for you and trusting that. So for me, I hear a melody, and part of the reason why I feel confident in a lot of melodies that I write is because I have a degree in music. I've studied melody. I've studied different elements of what shapes a melody takes, and that helps me kind of make decisions. And I've learned how to apply my knowledge to almost any genre that I write in. So it's very useful if you are able to take college courses in music, or even if you're not a college student yet, you can take you can watch my videos, and you can also look for any type of classes that you can take that can teach you about melody and writing melodies. If that's something that I think people are interested in, I'll make a video about it. But essentially, it's definitely got some root in knowing how to play the piano. If you're not a piano player, that does not mean that you cannot write a melody or that you can't write a song. I would love to just myth bust anything that tells people that they can't do something because they don't know how to do something else. I personally feel as if the reason why music is so appealing to people is because it's so instinctual. There is definitely, like I said, there is a textbook process for how you write a melody. There are rules, there are regulations, and you can choose to follow them. However, that doesn't dictate what you're able to do as a creative person. You gotta trust, again, we'll go back to what we spoke about in the last video, instinct, right? You listen to music, you hear music on the radio, you hear music when you're in the elevator, you hear music everywhere, in commercials, bedtime, music boxes, whatever. You hear music everywhere. So there is no being, in my opinion, on this planet that does not have musical instinct or capability. If you feel like that's you're that one person in the world, in the universe, whatever, that's fine. But I'm saying, for the purposes of my my lesson here, that there is no such person. Everybody has had exposure to music. Music is the first thing a lot of us attach to when we're born. the sound of your mother's voice. People talk about it in the womb, like not that they heard it in the womb, but like, that's what babies get attached to, right? So like there's certain sounds, music, things that we love and that we hear often, and it gets stuck in your head. And this is the blueprint that you need. You do not necessarily need a 4-year degree to write a melody. I will stand by that, even with my 4-year degree. You just need to be able to tap into that part of you that can interpret what you're hearing. So we all know the song, "The Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round," right? And we all can sing it relatively well, maybe. But essentially, that's kind of a good place to start. I know it sounds really like left field, like, you want me to start with "Wheels on the Bus"? What do you think I am, like 3? But literally, like, nursery rhymes are the best place to start when you're learning how to write melody, because nursery rhymes are specifically designed to be simple. And the more simple a melody is, the easier it is for you to interpret what it's doing, right? When it goes up, when it goes down, when it goes, when like you can hear those things, you can hear the rhythms. And rhythm is something that is also innate to the human experience, as far as I'm concerned. There are people who will tell you they do not have an ounce of rhythm, and maybe that is true. However, I will stand on principle and say that we all have some type of rhythm somewhere deep down. We got that rhythm, okay? So if we got to take it to church, we'll take it to church. You got rhythm. You got to have it. You got to have it. It's your heartbeat. It's in your body. It's literally in your body. But just to like backtrack to what we were talking about. So starting with children's songs is where I would direct someone who has never written a melody and has always dreamed of writing their own song. Or maybe you're a student who's looking for information on how to improve your composition skills or your writing ability or songwriting skills or whatever it is. So that's where I'm going to like kind of direct you, is starting with the nursery rhyme, the good old nursery rhyme. And like on the piano, it's really easy to like kind of pick those things out. I love the song Hot Crossed Buns because it starts on, I believe, E3, and da 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 da. I love Hot Cross Buns. You can't get away from it. And you kind of like, you can listen to that and be like, okay, it starts up and it goes down. Then it starts up again. Then it goes down. Then it starts from down and it goes up. And then it goes back down. So if you think of it that way, that's kind of a great representation of how melodies work. A lot of the time they start down and go up and then come down, but like, and by this I'm referring to like the notes, the sounds of the notes. So I would definitely like think about listening to some nursery rhymes. If you don't have any musical knowledge at all whatsoever, you don't know what a note is, you don't know what, a flat, a sharp, you don't know any of that stuff, do not fret. Once more, do not fret. The one thing I will ask for you to do is to get comfortable with singing. And singing, for a lot of people, they're like, oh, I can't sing, my voice sucks, or I don't know how to carry a tune, or whatever. But like, if you're really serious about learning how to write a melody and how to write music, singing is going to be a big help to you. And that does not mean you need to be Mariah Carey. I'm not saying you need to get up on that stage and sing God Bless America or anything, or Halo or something like that. I'm not saying you need to be, Whitney Houston. What I'm saying is, you gotta learn how to interpret what you're hearing and be able to like mimic almost what you're hearing. And that is going to be your beginning. If you have never, once again, if you've never touched a piano in your life, that's going to be your beginning. You're going to start with those nursery rhymes. You're going to start with hot cross buns. You're going to start with wheels on the bus. You're going to start with the itsy bitsy damn spider. Sorry, S4. But like, that's where you start, right? And you gotta think of yourself as a little kid, okay? And the reason I say that is because little kids absorb information easily, right? They feel no shame. If I were to put a young person, maybe 3 years old at a piano and play some hot crossed buns and give them the notes and show them where to put their fingers, they'll probably do it. That's kind of the mentality you gotta have when you're learning something for the first time. You gotta come at it as innocently as a child. You have to leave behind all like grown up problems like self-consciousness, confusion, fear, whatever. Leave it behind. Let it go. Let it go. That's what you got to do. You got to let that ish go. And you got to kind of humble yourself. You got to humble yourself and you got to say, I'm going to learn this and I'm going to pay attention and I'm going to do the best work that I can. And that's how you start. You get those nursery rhymes, you start listening to the nursery rhymes and you start to understand the pattern, right? It's a pattern. A lot of the time in a melody, you will hear the same pattern repeated. That's why it's called the melody. It's the main theme. If you think about a theme, if we talk about a theme, we'll use Harry Potter. I don't know if y'all watch Harry Potter, but if you ever heard of you're a wizard, Harry. Like that's very thematic throughout the film. Like people say that all the time. It's what you hear all the time, right? And then you kind of get used to that. And then you kind of start making up your own stuff. Like, for example, if you liked hot cross buns, you're like, da, da, da. Maybe you're going to go like, da, 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 da. Maybe you're going to add a little rhythm into it. Da, da, da. Da, 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 da. Maybe you're going to go higher and you're going to come back down. Whatever you want to do, that's kind of like how you start to twist and bend and stretch the imagination, okay? And the more comfortable you get with making things up, that's how you get better at writing melodies. You learn how to make things up. I know it sounds like, are you telling me you went to school for 4 years to learn how to make ish up? Is that what you're telling me right now? But that is kind of what we as musicians do. We make ish up. We make things up that, to us, we like it and we hope someone else likes it too. So I think that is going to be it for this video. But the next video, we're going to talk more about rhythm and how do you put the rhythm to the melody that you've just made up, right? And I am going to go a little bit deeper into how you choose things such as key signatures. We'll talk a little bit about chord progressions because those are all layers that you add, right? To be able to write the song that you want to write. And that's only if you are writing a melodic song. If you are writing a rap, different ball game. You don't even need to know how to use a chord, quite frankly. Unless you're writing your own track, then we'll talk more about how you build a track, how you make beats. We can talk about that. I am a load of information and I can't wait to share it with you guys. So I hope you'll come back for the next video. We're going to talk more about rhythmic dictation. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you get out there and hear some music, listen to nursery rhymes, make up ish, and write it down. And by write it down, it doesn't mean you have to write the notes. You can also record it on your phone. If you hear a melody and you like it, you make it up in your head, record it on your phone. That's how you start to track those things, keep track of your ideas. And then we'll talk more about how to turn those ideas into songs. Have a good day. Next time, I'll see you all back here on XENA Films. Subscribe if you haven't hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Hit that share button. And then thank you guys for watching. Bye.
He said, girl, the way you're controlling me is like food. He said, slow it down, the way